have an audience here in Beverly Hills. Yeah, let's try this one. Say hello.
Sansón, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
So, Sansón, we're here with Sebastián, who is doing the Q&A, the question and answer. But I think maybe he should just interview you instead of interviewing me. You know, this is a great opportunity.
Yes. This. Oh, I don't know about man. This. I had no questions for Sansón. I think it's incredible. Sansón, how are you doing? It is March 2023. How are you? How's your day going? How's your week going?
Oh, it's pretty good. I had a visit today from Rodrigo and his friends.
Yeah, he had a visit for me.
Pretty good. It's been a pretty good day.
Of course. Sansón, I understand that you've had some reception. You've understood how the film is being received, its rollout that Rodrigo has been putting up. How have you been responding to the words that Rodrigo has told you about the audience and the reception of the movie?
Well, it's really moving, and try to take it humbly. I didn't thought it was going to get that big, but I appreciate everything more.
Of course. Go ahead.
Well, you should ask him the obvious question of how does it feel to be in a movie and not having seen the movie?
No, well, like I tell Rodrigo, he's like a joke. I need the movie, so I would like to see it one day, but for now, well, I live there in real life. I have to say that.
Yeah, you lived it in real life. Can you share? Remember what we were talking about today with the friends, and you were talking about what you think about when you're walking in the yard, and how we're like a planet, and all this other stuff that you were saying. I wrote it down, but I think you should just say it.
Oh, but it's amazing to me how we flow in the universe in the same way. But the movies is out there. I'm kind of nervous.
Yeah. So Sansón was telling me that sometimes he wonders how could it be that humans exist and we're floating around in space like a plane, and his movie is floating around in space too. You know, his story is now floating in the world just like we're floating in the universe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Does anyone have questions or things you want to say to Sansón?
Please. This is better, more receptive here.
Have any members of his family or his wife and son had a chance to see the movie?
Has your family seen it? Your wife and son?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Has your
family?
Yeah, your family. How has your family received the movie, Sansón?
Oh, they like it. They like it. I mean, they really like me. They like it, and they ask a lot of questions about it. So, and they participated in it too. So.
Yeah, and can you talk a little bit about what you hope the film will do in the world?
What happened?
Can you talk about what you hope the film will do in the world?
I hope we can inspire a lot of people and help make a better system for people and create awareness.
Yeah. Can I ask, Sansón, your relationship with Rodrigo, it evolves over the course of the film. Rodrigo spent several of years of his life in the last decade filming this and growing and learning with you. How has your relationship with Rodrigo evolved? How is it today?
So it's really good. He's a good friend of mine. he mostly became like family to me.
Of course. Do you feel like your relationship with your siblings and your nieces, your nephews, do you feel like it is stronger because of this film? Do you still feel like there is a lot to grow and a lot to nurture there?
So, most importantly, we got a connection with them, and I found them again. And yeah, it's growing as a series, and so it's in progress, even with my sister.
And I'm gonna tell him about the kids. So Sanson and I are working on mentoring the kids. You know, Toñito and his niece, and it's hard. But now that Sanson can do calls, you know, like we set this up today, right? He can call more often. He talks to them, and he's helping them as well. And to just take advantage of this connection and make it alive, you know. Sanson, do you have questions for the audience here?
No, I just myself to enjoy it, but see a human empowerment.
To enjoy and to see human empowerment. Yeah, sir?
Within your life, in terms of the life in prison, what makes your life most satisfying, and what do you find that can bring you some happiness?
So in your life in prison and your life that has been so difficult, what do you find that brings you happiness and gives you satisfaction today?
Well, always I try to think positive, but well, I learn from my experience in life too. So I think that sometimes we gotta leave things to get the best of it and try to help others.
Yeah, so can you give us examples of how you try to just live a different life now? You know, maybe talk about some of the legal work you're doing, some of your goals and your plans.
Mostly like going back and seeing my story, writing it.
Oh, can you speak up? Can you speak up, Sanson? Can you speak louder?
I didn't. Mostly I'm from. Hold on. From writing my story and learning from it too. Like I try to become a better person. Try to study as much as I can and not stay stuck on the same path. And so I had learned for myself, but it's not for help myself at the same time learning.
Yeah, and Sanson is also
Best I can. So,
he's trying to become a paralegal, and he's been doing his own legal work around his case. He's been doing legal work. He's been helping others to teach them how to look up their cases in the law library. You know, he's very humble, but he's been doing a lot. And he's also re-enrolled in school. And it's crazy because he was enrolled in school, and then when he got transferred to a different yard, they said, "Oh, you have to drop out of school," and then he has to re-enroll in college now. So hopefully, that will go really well. Sanson's growth is incredible. He spends a lot of time learning, looking at cases, helping others. He helped somebody get a petition into court, and then they got their sentence reviewed, and this person just didn't know how to do any of that. So the fact that Sanson, at the beginning and 10 years ago, like even English-wise, like Sanson has worked so hard that now he could just present directly in English, and that's amazing. So we're all very proud of you, Sanson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know you're nervous. It's okay. Don't worry. It'll get better. There's a question from a filmmaker in the back named Armando.
Now that he transferred, and now he's in a una yarda más mejor. Ahora ya la dejan en la cocina a comer más mejor tamales.
So do they let you eat better, like now that you're in the kitchen, like in a better yard, like do they let you eat better tamales, like better Mexican food?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same food because it's also statewide. California sells the same meals. So, but I cook, so I make myself some good food.
I want to ask this. This may be a difficult question, and you touch on it a bit in your film, Rodrigo. But Sansón, how do you feel in reflection about your life in the United States? Do you have regrets? Do you respect your decisions and your life while you were here in the United States?
Oh, it is a difficult question. Well, I can say I try to work with what I had. Yeah, some things I regret, others I don't, you know. But even in the worst part of my decisions, I can tell you that I learned a lot from them. So I learned a lot from it. And that's all I had. That's all I had to. I didn't have really much to learn from when I was a kid, so I did as best as I could in life.
Are you with what you have learned in your studies as a paralegal, are you optimistic about the future for relations between the United States and Mexico?
Well, you said so. Let's watch for right, but
Of course.
well, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that is up for debate is what happens to people in California who are incarcerated and then they get released. And one of the things that we're trying to do with the film is to use it to help an initiative so that people won't just be automatically deported. You know, it destroys their lives and it doesn't give them any options. You know, oh, we lost him. He'll call back. But you know, like I thought that would be interesting, and thank you for the experiment. Sansón and I, you know, hung out with our friend Carla today, and others, and it was a really special experience, you know. And I hope you got some of the real Sansón and pieces of what's in the film. He was nervous, of course. It's the first Q&A he's been live in, you know. It's a lot, and he was like, well, what should I say? And I was like, oh, don't worry about it, you'll be fine, you know. Yeah.
That's first time I've done it too. Sir, do you have a question?
So how long has he been in custody or in prison? What facilities has he been in, and which college actually has classes in that facility?
So going backwards, he is enrolling, but I don't know what college is leading the program. He's in Tehachapi.
Facilities that I would know.
He's now in Tehachapi.
I think it's Cal State LA.
Yeah, so that would be Cal State LA. Oh, I think he's calling me back. That would be Cal State LA then. We just screened it at Berkeley, and Berkeley has a whole program for people. We screened it with the leader of that program, and so hopefully we'll get him plugged into that.
How many years?
He's been in for 13 years, and you know, he could talk a lot about that. The whole issue that he has is that he was sentenced under implied intent. Hey, so I'm just answering a question about your sentence and the time. So he was sentenced under implied intent. So, like, it's for those of you who don't, who may not be lawyers or understand a lot, like, there's this idea of your mental state, right? Like, what's your mental state? And so, in his case, the court really allowed like a weird way of proving the mental state, right? And so Sansón essentially factually all he did was drive. There's no proof of anything else. No one came in and said, hey, we talked about it. He, set up and did this, But I think now in the path of having been incarcerated, and going through some really serious prisons. So you were asking what prisons he's been in. So he started in Salinas. He then went to Tracy for like a holding moment. Then he went to Pelican Bay. So the film is set in Pelican Bay. All the footage that you see is actual Pelican Bay. So it's basically a portrait in time, right? Like now Sansón is able to, call us back. He couldn't do that like last week. So the film would have been totally different, right? It's a portrait of a certain moment in his life in the prison system, which is being reformed, right? In some way, or being shifted, right? And Sansón wrote his own brief that is now pending, it's attached to another case in the Supreme Court, in California Supreme Court. And he did that. And he forced his lawyer to kind of, blow off the dust and do something about it and join him in that. But he did it on his own. And he follows a lot of his friends and to see what happens with their cases and stuff. So I just see a lot of growth in you, Sansón, and
Esta llamada es un número de teléfono
Yeah, this is
general
crazy.
controlada y grabada.
Will you be able to ever see this film, the film, you think?
Will you be able to see the film? Yes, in September it'll be on PBS, and guess what? PBS is free to prisoners. So, but we're working on trying to bring the film inside. We're working, it's a very diplomatic, delicate thing, because you have to tell them, hey, it's about this guy and he's here. But we were talking about that all day today. How do you feel about that, Sansón, about the day that's coming when you see the film either in a screening or in your TV? You.
I can't wait for it. I would like to see it. Yeah. Yeah. How I feel. A little nervous. A lot of people's gonna see it, so be here.
Yeah, we have a lot of people here that are connected now to your story.
Yeah. Does he know you didn't even get a real actor to play him?
Yeah.
You just got a guy.
He knows, yeah, he knows it's Gerardo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The question today was, go ahead. Go ahead, Sansón.
What was the question?
Oh no, I was gonna make a joke. You go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, how much time in the way? Like 30 minutes?
What was that?
Rodrigo?
Yeah.
How much time will we I see in the video pieces that we have? Like 30 minutes of the movie?
No, you only saw like 20 minutes.
About?
You only saw like 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you want me to tell the story of when you saw it? When you saw that little piece?
Yeah.
So there's a moment where we were doing video visits, and it was so crazy to schedule one and everything. But so what I did was I grabbed a laptop and I put it in front of the camera, and Sansón got to see in this really terrible, resolution, all that. He got to see the first like 20 minutes of the movie without the final mix or anything like that. And it was in 2 sessions, and the second session, Sansón brought some sunglasses. Why did you bring some sunglasses?
That one will really see me crying.
Yeah, he didn't want me to see him cry. You see? So I think that the power of the film is really incredible because we're all connected, and there's a faith element to it, like a trust element between Sansón and I. Like of course he had to trust me and I had to trust him. And when things got tough, he reminded me today that there were moments where I wanted to quit too, and he pulled me forward, and then sometimes I would pull him.
We're running out of time. Sansón, is there anything that you would like to tell us about your story? Just anything that is you think important to say, important about your current work, and important about the narrative of the movie that you want to tell our audience?
Well, it's a question. Hard question. Well, I really know I don't have nothing right now. What I would say is that we have a lot of people like me. My story is faced to a lot of people that comes to Mexico, different places, and I would like for it to create a little awareness of what some people go through, and that's probably it.
Thank you, Sanson. And I'm gonna tell a story. I'm gonna tell a story, okay, Sanson? Because Sanson is very humble, but like like now that we've been visiting more, now that COVID is over and we can go back in, I've been going in, and a month ago I went to see him, and the guards let us take notes, right? They let us take notes. We were the only ones in the visiting room, and we took some notes. And at the end of the visit, they wanted to look at the notes, and the notes were like drawn or written on a coloring book page that we found in the back, like where they heap all the toys for the kids, and with marker, there was no pens or pencils, and they were like getting really confused. And Sanson was like, "Hey, just tell them what we're doing." And so I told them, and the guards were like, they couldn't believe it, because I said, "Hey, it's going to open in New York. There's a corrido, there's a music video." And one guy was like, "What's up, bro? Like, I've been working with you in the kitchen and you never mentioned this. Like, what's going on?" And so it's really interesting how it's shifted the perspective. Like, Sanson, you were telling me how some guards asked you about your case and they told you, "Oh, you don't, that's crazy that you're here for life." Like the empathy, like that it generated to know that the attention is coming, and that the world is paying attention to him, also is shifting inside, which is really, really
special.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, I think. Yeah.
You see the tide chains coming from everywhere, everybody. Sansón and Rodrigo Reyes, everybody, please. Sansón, thank you. Sansón. Stay well.
Wait for that, okay? All right.
Thank you, everybody.
That was very special. And thank you, Sebastian, because it was a total experiment, and I didn't even prep him for it.
Yeah, I burned all my questions. I'm going to burn them all after the show outside if you'd like. Independent cinema is so brilliant. You I think, are the first Mexican or Latino director I've had the chance to interview, and it's very special. That story and everything makes that documentary more special than anything I have seen in recent memory, just because of you and because of him and because of your families and your stories. So thank you all so much for attending. We have to exit the theater for the next show.
I'll be in the lobby, and I have an extra surprise. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
So I traveled to screenings with these. These are pre-stamped, addressed cards that you could write to him, and you can continue the conversation. So I'll be handing them out in the lobby. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much for coming to the Lumiere tonight, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll just take one. Yeah.